All right, everyone, let's do this. Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you are doing great. We're going to be talking about the Federal Reserve and the most amazing bait and switch that is about to happen. Now, I have two stories to bring you, one out of CNBC, one out of Zero Hedge. And the reason why I bring both of them is because they tell two totally different tales of what's going on behind the Federal Reserve and what they're presenting in front of the media. All right. Now, first off, type I have or I have not if you have ever heard of the term bait and switch. I'm just curious if a lot of people have not heard about it. If you have, let me know that you have. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this this scheme that I've been talking about for about 7-8 months now. And they've already laid the groundwork. They've already shown you that, ooh, economic data is getting better. Inflation's loosening, lessening. And I told you that they were going to show this economic data as, not this huge win for the Federal Reserve, but just enough. And then the governors would start talking, the Fed governors talking about, hey, you know what? We need some more data, but we're going to keep championing or cheerleading the thought that we're going to lower rates, okay? And I told you that they're going to do it on purpose because they're going to get you sucked into this little brief period of time where they drop rates a little bit, not much, 25 basis points, maybe 3 of those, right as the election's happening. And they're going to try and sway the vote. But here's the problem. And first off, I got to ask, is there an echo in this room? I'm sort of hearing an echo. If you can hear an echo in the mic, please let me know down below. If there's no echo, type no echo, but I'm hearing an echo. So my point being is that what they're going to do is they're going to try and sway the vote, but they know within 2 to 3 months, the data is going to hit the markets as far as what has happened with inflation. Are we going to see more inflation? Or are we going to see less inflation when they lower rates? Okay. I believe that they're going to have a massive push of inflation because of not only, thank you guys for answering the echo question, because they're going to have a huge amount of data coming in from these companies because people are going to start to speculate in markets because debt's going to get a little bit cheaper, not much, but a little bit. And there's going to be a euphoria thinking this is it. The Fed's just going to keep lowering rates. They're not going to keep lowering rates. As a matter of fact, they're going to spike them. You know what? Live. I'm going to pull this up really quick. Let's go live. We're going to do this. Fed funds rate. Before I get into the story, okay? Oh, and also, real quick, remind everyone that's got the real estate crash course, live training tonight. It's included because you guys are awesome, and I can't share this on the internet. And if you guys want the Memorial Day sale, 70% off the real estate crash course, links down below. There's a handful of links. Once they're gone, they're gone. You'll see the countdown timer on the sales page. All right, Fed funds rate chart. Check this out. I want to give you a little bit of a sort of perspective, okay? So we're going to pull up a little graphic, an infographic. No, it's not an infographic. It's from the Fed or Fred. Okay, now this is just a massive, massive chart of the federal funds rate, right? Now this is what I want to bring your attention to. We're going to go a little historical or hysterical if you're talking about the president. And we're going to talk about times when inflation started getting crazy and the Fed raised rates and then they dropped them down a little bit, and then they spiked up higher. Then they came down, they raised rates, they dropped them down a little bit, and they spiked higher. Why? They were trying to goose the system, for lack of better terms, and it was around the time of an election. No one's talking about this on the internet. Just blows my mind. Everyone wants to give their best guesses. I'm telling you what's going to happen ahead of time. All right, so here we go. First story, this is out of CNBC. Now remember, we're talking about a bait and switch that the government's doing. Why did my computer go black? This is what happens. This is what happens when you start talking about things they don't want you to talk about. Okay, here we go. Out of CNBC. It's entitled, Fed Governor Waller wants several months of good inflation data before lowering rates. Now, I've told you that's part of the plan, right? They're data dependent, data driven, and they're going to show you, okay, you know what? Inflation's easing. And you know what? We know the consumer and Wall Street really wants lower rates. So then eventually we're going to give in. We're going to lower rates a little bit, right? But then just, I'm going to give you a little peek into the future. They're also going to say the day they lower rates, which will probably come, I want to say in September. And it'll be the end of September. And they're going to say, but we're just letting you guys know, cautious. If we see an increase in inflation, we're going to raise rates. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it's going to come in the end of September. Pretty sure. I don't have a crystal ball, but It's because you've got that data point, and then the next one. They want to have at least two spots where they lower inflation right before the election. And what's the date of the election? Do you guys remember the date in November? Type it down below. But my point being is that's what they want. They want 2 times, like to really juice the system, the electoral system. So he says he wants a few months, right? It says here, Federal Reserve Governor Christopher Waller, citing a string of data showing that inflation appears to be easing, said Tuesday that he does not think further interest rate increases will be necessary. However, the policymaker added he will need some convincing before he cuts back anytime soon. He says, hold on, talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. How lame is Biden? Holy cow. All right, here we go. Central bankers, he says, should never say never. But the data suggests that inflation isn't accelerating. And I believe that further increases in the policy rate are probably unnecessary. Just so he's saying that because people are really afraid coming to this election that they're going to have to raise rates again. Okay? Things are actually imploding around you. I don't know. Type 3 if you agree. Things are actually imploding. I don't care what the mainstream media is telling you. So he says they're probably unnecessary, said Waller, who has recently been hawkish, meaning he supports tighter monetary policy. So that's weird, isn't it? Isn't that weird? Gosh darn, top 6 if you think that's weird. It's weird because he has been hawkish and wanting higher rates to get in front of inflation, yet we're coming into an election. They're scared to death of the other guy, wonder why, and they want sway people's votes. So all of a sudden he's going from hawkish to dovish. Yeah, it looks like, give me a few more months. I think we might be able to lower this interest rate, right? The comments came in prepared remarks for an appearance before the Peterson Institute for International Economics in Washington. Now, isn't that nice? When the Fed governors can't think for themselves, we can't go live. We're Fed governors. They ask us a question, we don't know we're going to be screwed. I mean, look at the Fed, look at President Biden's economic advisor when he's thrown off with a real question. I mean, it's like trained monkeys. But my point being is these are prepared remarks, all right? That's why they're all scared of the ninja. Ninja just goes live. Waller pointed to a string of recent data from flattening retail sales to cooling in both the manufacturing and service sectors. So let me bring this to a little bit of a different point here. He brings out that inflation's slowing, and it's slowing by cooling in both manufacturing and service sectors and flattening retail sales. So when sales flatten and when service sectors cool down, that means people lose their job. I don't know if you know how that works. Type 7 if you know how it works and you agree. When the retail sector flattens because people aren't spending money and the service sector slows down, companies go, you're fired. And then unemployment raises. That would make Jerome Powell's day. That's what he wants. He wants you to lose your job. And the cool thing is, the first time in history that a group of people around the world are going to understand how this concept works, and they're going to get ready for it. And all your family and friends that say you're a dork, they won't be saying a dork when you're not going to buy their house, but probably someone else from Ninja Nation is, and then we'll rent them to them. That's how it is. You can't hold good people down, and we are going to absolutely use this truth and this proof to dominate it. So let's dive in. So we've got the Fed Waller Main Street edition, right? The CNBC. All right, here we go. Out of Zero Hedge. Hawkish FOMC minutes show various members willing to tighten more, fear financial conditions are too easy. All right, so now here's the deal, and I want to hear your opinion. Do you believe the Fed has gotten inflation under control? If you do, say they have. If you believe that the Federal Reserve has not gotten inflation under control and they are screwed, either you can type in they are screwed, or if that's a bad word, I got it, say they in trouble. And I'm just curious from your responses, because the thing is that the truth is they have not gotten this under control. well above the 2%. Remember, they want to destroy your purchasing power just a mere 2% each year, which makes you believe it's an illusion, it's wordsmithing, it's trickery. As a matter of fact, it's actually downright sorcery. They want to make you believe that the stock market always goes up over the long term and the real estate market always goes up over the long term. But every time one of those things went down like this, a lot of people, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, lost their jobs or lost their assets. But hey, it's always doing this. It's because your purchasing power is being destroyed. Okay? So here we go. Since the last FOMC statement on May 1st, bonds, stocks, and gold have rallied strongly while crude prices have declined with a small drop in the dollar. Rate cut expectations have dovishly increased, but are well off the post-CPI spike highs. Now, with macro data serially, surprisingly to the downside, growth-based macro factors have weakened considerably since the last FOMC meeting, while inflation-related factors have increased. So with stagflationary, you have to remember that word because that's what we're moving into. And that's what scares the piss out of the Federal Reserve. Why? Because when you have stagflation, you have a time of essentially sort of like high economic activity along with high unemployment. The Federal Reserve doesn't know what to do with stagflation. They're like, give us inflation or deflation any day. We don't want to talk about stagflation, right? Because they don't have a lot of good monetary policy tools unless they completely monetize the debt and put it on their balance sheet, like the Bank of Japan, which they don't want to do because why? Wait for it. The Federal Reserve is a private bank. And if they put all this crap on their balance sheet, there's going to be a day where a president walks up and goes, I don't like you guys. I know what you're doing, regardless if the rest of the nation does. And we're going to get rid of you. And they're going to be screwed. So it says, with stagflationary signals abounding, what will the Fed want us to read into the minutes today? Expectations were confirmation that rate hikes were off the table. The Fed still expects growth without inflation. The Fed remains focused on shelter inflation. So here we go. If you want to see shelter inflation, this is a real thing. Check. Nobody wants to talk about this. They don't want to challenge me. And the stuff I'm about to share tonight with all my students, I don't want anyone else knowing. Check this out. Here we go. We're going to go live. We're going to do this. It's really hard to type this out. I'm going to show you sense the sarcasm. Oh, crap. Now I really can't type it out. Average home sale price spread. Well, that was really hard. Oh, so let's go. Average sales prices for houses sold in the United States. I'm going to show you a real technical chart here. Look at the purchasing power of your real estate dollars. It just always goes up, right? Oh wait, except that time where it just went a little, like a little hump down. That's the great financial crisis. That's when a lot of your family and friends lost their homes, lost their jobs. Just that little beep. Okay, now we're up here though, Ninja. Who cares about that? Well, if you do want to care about that, you should care about this little drop. And just so you know, that little spike up, seasonality. And it was a fear factor because the Fed was going to raise rates again. Just letting you know. On a percentage basis, that little drop in our nation, that's actually now a little bit more on a percentage basis across the nation of home prices falling. Now, your real estate agent's not going to tell you that because they have to pay fees to a company called the National Association of Realtors, and they don't want you to know that. But just, that's the beginning. And what's really, really cool is I started teaching this course on real estate cycles and how to identify them right before that first drop. The coolest thing is that these are easy cycles to identify. And for anyone that says that home prices are going to keep going up, I would ask them one question: how? And they will look at you with a blank stare because they don't know I can't even think of a really clean term to use. The truth is, we've peaked. Housing market, you've peaked, bro. And housing market's like, And on this channel, I just like to sort of joke around because I want real people, real students. If you're ready to take action, really start to identify these cycles, and then once you identify them, you start figuring out how to use that knowledge to make lots of money. I'll put a link down below. Memorial Day sale, 70% off. It's gonna be awesome. And there's only a handful of links for the next through the Labor Day. Once they're gone, they're gone. Hope you guys have a great day. Links down below. Economic Ninja is out.